Hello, and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor, and I'm here with Liam O'Meara. And this week, there's only one topic on everyone's lips, and that is Trent Alexaner-Arnold. Shockingly, like we haven't spoken about him enough over the last year. But this weekend at Liverpool versus Arsenal, he was audibly booed by a large section of the Liverpool fans. And we want to know everyone's opinion. We're going to give you our thoughts, and we want to see if it's right that fans feel they should have the right to boo one of their own players. And I'm interested to get your thoughts. Liam, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, Martin. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, we were kind of like in a game that should be massive at this point in the season. It's ended up being the main talking point, hasn't it? But yeah, I'm good. And yeah, sort of we're both preparing for our big run this weekend.
Can't wait. I said can't wait. I'm dreading it. I'm not prepared.
It's going to be hot as well, I think.
It's going to be warm.
Yeah, my I don't know when yours is. My start time is 1 o'clock. It's going to be like the height of the sun at that time.
Yeah, I think mine's an hour before you, but that's because I really thought a lot of myself in the signing up process with my estimated time, given that I haven't even ran a 10k ever without a football being involved. So I am massively underprepared, but this is where you dig deep. It's part of the challenge. It's no fun if you're really prepared and you do 10Ks all the time.
You can surprise yourself. I remember I have done this before, and I didn't train for it, and it must be about 10 years ago. So I wasn't as unfit as I was previously, but I wasn't in great shape either. And I kind of ambled around, like, a few stops here and there, and kind of. So you can surprise yourself. You get swept up in it a little bit with people around you, I think.
Running in a group helps. I think the park runs have helped and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and the pressure of failure is usually a good. It's usually a good.
Oh, that's good. That's
motivator.
That's always a positive.
Yeah,
because it stops Amarin and Postecoglou. But yeah,
we need to talk about that. Let's get on that in the second half.
Well, we need that. I think we wait till our Man United expert. I really want to hear from him before the.
I'm yet to speak to one. I'm yet to speak to one of them. I know Man United fans, so. Trent Alexander-Arnold. First of all, what did you make of it when Liverpool fans booed him?
It was quite a shock.
He was brought on, wasn't he, like at 67th minute, something around that time.
It was quite a shock. Firstly, has there ever been a more talked about right back than Trent?
Never.
Considering for me as well, he's not that like controversial as a figure. I mean, this is we'll get into this move, which is like he's being treated like Sol Campbell joining Arsenal type reaction. No. But he seems to be an obsession for a lot of people, I think. Like, and I've never understood it. Like, every podcast you ever listen to, he's discussed, regardless of what's going on. They're talking about whether he can't defend or whether, like, the ability that he has on the ball, whether he should play for England in midfield. Like, he just dominates thinking. And he's not like he's a knobhead or anything. Like,
for someone who says very little generally in the media, like, I think from all I can remember, it was one of the overlap specials with Gary Neville and him. It's one of the only, like, long, sort of, other than post-match interviews and the odd bit of Liverpool social media, you never really even speak. So he's not, and he's not someone who's out there in, making front page headlines like certain other players.
Yeah, he's mad, but he dominates football conversation. Dominates it.
Is it because he's so talented and yet so flawed as a player?
Possibly.
There's a little bit of like not mysteria, but there's something about him that is amazing and shocking at the same time. So that's always perplexed people. Plus he's with Liverpool as well and being a homegrown player. There's like this elevated. It's like being like Man United's goalkeeper or centre forward. It's like this elevated role. This on top of what it actually is, like this homegrown Liverpool talent in a successful Liverpool side. And let's not forget how successful he has been in the last
he's won it all.
7-8 years. As the main right back for Liverpool, despite his flaws and despite his criticisms about his defending, what he's brought to them, he's I think he's the top assisting fullback in Premier League history for someone who's 27, 28. What? Yeah, I don't know. What is it about him? This is that's sort of your question a little bit, but
yeah. If I think about it, maybe I've always thought about this, but I think he polarizes opinions so much, where some people can see the value. My own view on Trent Alexander-Arnold is that he's probably the best passer of the ball, maybe that I've ever seen play in England. To be honest, he is Man City are losing De Bruyne this summer. He's the closest thing to it that you could put in that City team doing that ball.
Yeah,
like you're talking that level of.
I agree. Yeah,
technical ability, and it's always been this idea of, I think, more traditional minded 4-4-2 type football fans look at it and go, well, that's not his job. His job's firstly to defend, and I think it comes down to this idea of what is football now and how you perceive football, and everyone having their own individual job. I think the idea that he's a right back that doesn't need to worry about defending seems to bother people, I think. But again, it works for Liverpool because they've had inside of him Virgil van Dijk. It's perfect.
Exactly. So he was brought on against Arsenal at 2-1, actually. And then I think he was the one who ended up playing Marino on side to make it 2-2. Regardless of the facts, Liverpool have already won the league. This is the first home match since he's announced he was leaving officially, even though we've all suspected it for quite some time. And Arne Slot decided to bring him on the pitch. And like I say, he was booed. Were you shocked that you heard that? And should fans do that?
I think there's two questions here. I know you've asked two.
There was two questions.
but I think there's two more that get to the crux of it.
Go on.
Firstly, was I shocked by it? Yeah. I was shocked by the volume of it. You expected some because we
expected murmurs and stuff. Yeah.
We've been ringing up TalkSport for the last month, telling everyone that after Liverpool there is no one else. Who would you play for that's not Liverpool? And I half get it, but I only ever think you only ever hear Liverpool fans talking in those terms, and I don't know if they actually believe that. I feel like it's one of those things that Liverpool fans just say because they're Liverpool fans, and well, there is no one else. We're Scouse, not English. There is no other club to play for. Come on, lads. There's a big world out there beyond Merseyside. And by the way, half of these people ringing TalkSport were from the south anyway. But there's a big wide world out there that you can go and explore. So was I shocked by the reaction? Yeah. Can they do so? Was I shocked by them doing it to Trent Alexander-Arnold? And should they do it to Trent Alexander-Arnold? That's one question. Number two is, should they do it in general?
Mm-hmm.
Are fans entitled to do it? So I think we start with the first one. Should Liverpool fans boo Trent Alexander-Arnold? I was really struggling to find a justification for someone who has won so much at their boyhood club.
It's like if he was jumping ship on the cusp of success. I couldn't compare it, but if Saka was to leave, right on the brink of us going to win the league, that would be a bit more contentious for me. Trent's been there, done it. He's done everything. And yeah, that's the only sort of comparison I can see.
I don't think any other club reacts that strongly.
Mm-hmm.
I even think if Saka was to leave now to go to a Real Madrid or Barcelona, which I think he's capable of playing at that level, maybe not getting to Barcelona's team with Yamal being there, but he's that level of player is the point I'm trying to make. I don't think Arsenal fans react in those stronger terms. I only think that only happens at Liverpool.
Well, that is another question here. Is why? Because we heard there was rumours and murmurs, and there's still stories about Steven Gerrard when he tried to leave, and he did try to leave and tried to go to Chelsea at one point.
It's well reported now from both Gerrard and Mourinho that almost happened. It wasn't even a think it was close at one point.
But I always remember that famous image of Gerrard walking into Melwood. Melwood, is that right, innit?
Yeah.
He was walking into Melwood with the Champions League trophy, two-handing his transfer request, or he had done, or something like that. I remember them pictures on Sky Sports News. And like this was not a great Liverpool team, by the way. And he was out and out, probably England's best player at the time and arguably one of the best players in the world, to go to Chelsea, this rising beast that Chelsea had become or were becoming at the time, to go and join them. And then all of a sudden it fell through. Now, there's a lot of stories that lean either way of this, but he basically didn't, changed his mind, or his mind was changed.
Yeah, he got cold feet because he'll been under immense pressure. I think Gary Neville's been talking about this, hasn't he, the last 48 hours or so. He's talked about the pressure that will have been put on Trent Alexander-Arnold to stay.
Yeah.
Because everyone will have been telling him to stay. Quite almost everybody will have been telling him to stay in Liverpool, which will have happened to Gerrard, happened to Rooney at United. That was another big one that I remember. And he I won't say bottled it, because you don't know what went on and whether he was just gunning for a new contract, which I think United fans like to say no, but I think there was more to it than that, to be completely honest. I think he was concerned about the signings that United were making at that point, Rooney.
Yeah. I think he's come out and said that. Another question. So why, and I don't want to put words in Liverpool's fans' mouth here, but there has been a lot of things about the fact that he's leaving on a free transfer at the end of his contract. And this is upsetting fans. It's almost upgrading the outrage, the fact that it's for free as well, and they aren't getting this fee that they can all, go and spend in their fantasy football teams. So, this fantasy transfer window that we all live in until the reality hits. It's like, oh, we need 60, 70, 100 million for him or whatever. Like, yes, maybe he's worth that. But also, he's fulfilled his duties more than anything with his contract. Why is it upsetting people that they're worried? Is it just the PSR world that we live in? Is it the fact that, yes, Liverpool fans or football fans in general want to have this figure attached to their imaginary transfer windows that they play with all summer?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a pride thing. I do think the transfer, again, like you, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I'm going to say what I think's going on. And I do think there's an element here of using that as a justification for what is anger anyway. Because I think if Trent Alexander-Arnold just hands in a transfer request, I think the reaction's the same. I'd be shocked if it was much different. So I think that's what's being told. Now, also, I do look at Liverpool with some apportionment of blame here, because I think this is a situation they could have resolved.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what release clauses exist for.
Well, let's talk about that. So, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, and I haven't heard that many rumours about proposed contracts to Trent that he'd turn them down and stuff like that. I haven't heard that much. When there was the Salah contract disputes.
2 years ago, he was offered a massive mega deal, wasn't there, that he's turned down?
Ah, okay. Well, there was
it's all rumours though, and it's all coming out now.
There was the very public Salah contract dispute that there was constantly going up and forth, and there was definitely offers on the table and stuff. Where we heard a lot less about that from Trent. Maybe this is just him and his image and his publicist and whatever, that word never being put out, or maybe it just was never there really. And are Liverpool to blame? There was a lot of stuff going on with Klopp and him leaving, and where Liverpool would be. That was 18 months ago when Klopp announced that he was leaving. Yeah, that's right. 18 months ago, middle of last season. So, maybe that's the time when that Trent and Virgil and Salah would have been signing them contract extensions. Then that's all thrown up in the air, and they're left with whatever else is going on. Is that to blame? You'll know a little bit more than me, but the behind the scenes of who was sporting director or chief of football, whatever you want to call it, at Liverpool at the time. Was it Michael Edwards? And then there was other people.
Edwards has come back
Edwards has come back in this time.
Since Klopp it was when Klopp announced he was leaving. It was not long after they got Edwards back into. They wanted Edwards to manage the transition, didn't they?
So maybe there's a reason in there as well.
Maybe it's a good point to raise that regarding Klopp, because people did speculate that at the time. You know, these contracts have been talked about quite a lot over the last sort of couple of years, and a lot of people did speculate that at the time, that this would hamper negotiations because those players might wait and see with regard to what's going on.
Listen,
there's been talk with Virgil van Dijk as well that he was seeking assurances of activity in the transfer market as much as anything else. Like,
right.
I didn't hear the same for Salah. For that, it would seem to be a lot of that around the time frame. But with Virgil van Dijk, a lot of it was about future investment. But you're right, didn't hear too much regarding Trent Alexander-Arnold. Apart from now, there seems to be the odd murmurings of highest paid player is the merger, the murmurings.
Even so, all that blame is on Liverpool's doorstep. Whoever wants to sit in that chair and take it, it's Liverpool Football Club, and it's not Trent's duty to say, right, I'm ready for another contract. It's up to Liverpool to say, we need to negotiate. Now, whether that's happening and he's buffing him away or whatever, we don't know. But I suspect that there wasn't enough action from Liverpool to persuade Trent to stay. That's all I'm thinking at the moment.
Well, there obviously wasn't, because there will be a number that makes Trent Alexander-Arnold stay. So no matter what version of this you play out, Liverpool could have made it. Now, they've obviously chosen not to do that, and that's fair enough. Liverpool have their reasons to not offer an agreeable level of contract. You know, this is the nature of contract negotiations. We may never know, or at least it'd be a long time before we do know. But the thing is, what Trent Alexander benefits. Sorry, go on, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, by all accounts, he's going to Real Madrid for less money per week. That's
essentially. I imagine his signing fee will be quite significant. I imagine.
I suspect so, but let's say the money that he could have earned at Liverpool, having signed a deal that's $400,000 a week, or whatever you want to pay the number one right back in the world, or the hottest commodity, or this homegrown lad who's about to be captain. I don't know. I want to circle back to something though. Actually, do you think Slot was right to bring him on? Given that in his pre-match press conference, not press conference, but they do the interview in the tunnel,
presser,
a little bit beforehand on Sky, he said basically that he couldn't lie, and there is, obvious reasons why Trent isn't starting. The reasons why he's in the squad is because he's still training well and he's part of this team, but it does affect his decisions whether to start him now and again or not. Maybe. So that obviously is a conscious decision that he isn't starting because that he's announced that he was leaving. But was Slot right to bring him on and put him through that? Probably knowing what would happen.
It depends. It depends what he's trying to do. If he's trying to win the game, then yeah. Because he's right in terms of he's got to do some forward planning now. And the idea is that they'll probably go into the market for a right back. I know Jeremy Frimpong's really linked now. Yeah. So they're probably going to go, but there's a world where they don't get a right back. Not everyone signs the position they need to sign, do they, Martin? So, they have to prepare for that scenario. So starting Conor Bradley in big games, games against high quality opponents, I'm not calling it a big game because it wasn't. But that is good because you exposed him to playing against Gabriel Martinelli, that type of stuff. So it's good for him. However, he probably might have wanted to win the game. But we thought at 2-1, the game was getting a little bit more stretched. That counter-attack's still on. Who's the best player to sort of set off the Liverpool front three? It's Trent Alexander-Arnold. And probably, like we didn't, as we were saying at the start, didn't expect it to be quite as strong, the feeling. So in hindsight, he probably wouldn't have done. But in the moment, it probably seemed a good idea. Like lots of mistakes do in life.
How do you feel about Trent being a Real Madrid player next season?
Good luck to him. I think it's look from an individual perspective. What a challenge! What a club to go and play for. What an experience. What a place to be at. And how do I feel about it in terms of thing? Yeah, great. You know, I do like the idea of English players playing abroad, particularly at that level.
Yeah.
And now there's 2 English players in that team. That's ridiculously good. So yeah, I'm very much all for it. Don't get me wrong, you don't want to see good players lead the Premier League, but you know, there'll be other good players. So
yeah,
if they get Jeremy Frimpong, that's a player that's 2 years younger than Trent coming in at Liverpool. So
he was at City, wasn't he, as well?
yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. His brother was at Bolton.
Oh,
yeah. So he went to City, then he went to Celtic, which is there he started playing first team football.
Okay.
Then moved from Celtic to Leverkusen, where he's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure when he was at Celtic. I thought he was a very good player, but I wasn't sure that he would. Because he's been linked with United a couple of times, Frimpong, and I've been a bit like, not sure. But this last sort of 18 months, he's been arguably one of the best fullbacks in the world. So, yeah, it seems likely. I wonder whether, if this wasn't happening with Trent Alexander-Arnold, whether Xabi Alonso would have taken Frimpong with him to Real Madrid, because I mean, they do need a right back. Like Carvajal is, struggling. Well, yeah.
Hold that thought. We will return to that in a minute. But is there any fixes for this situation other than Liverpool sign a new player, everyone move on, just get the season out of the way, and it's done. It's done. It's just some shit that he's got to deal with. Everyone's got to deal with this shit, and let's just get past it.
They'll have the trophy parade and they'll have forgotten about it. But I do want to bring it back to one more question that we were kind of talking about earlier before we move on. Is it ever all right to be one of your own players? The answer is yes, by the way. It's definitely all right.
Yeah. I mean, from experience, we've had some stinking moments at Arsenal. And despite the maybe justification for it, it always stinks a little bit as well.
It looks bad.
It's not a good look.
But I think it's worse for the big six, because the more we do these podcasts, and the more I talk to you, Scott, and Luke about football, the more I realise that the big six kind of live in their own world of like how they appear to other big six clubs. Like almost everything comes down to that. Like it's not even about how much you've won; it's about whether you're in a better position. And I think whenever you're booing players and stuff like this is where that's why you wouldn't like it. So you're probably thinking of like the Xhaka situation when he was like,
the Xhaka one was
the worst one I can think of for a player at Arsenal anyway.
That was a bad moment. The worst one though for me was Aboué. I don't know if you remember this one, but he came on in the first half due to an injury, and he was subbed about midway through the second half, and he was booed off, and it was stinker because he clearly had a shocker of a game, whatever was going on. I can't remember the score, I can't remember the match. I just remember this situation. It was a howler of a performance and just a real rough moment, a real bad time for us. That but,
it doesn't help. There's no way it helps, but they're absolutely entitled to do it. But there's no way it helps. It's really not helpful.
I don't believe. No, as a paying match-going fan with your ticket, it doesn't give you the right to go and say and do whatever you want. No.
Well, I mean, obviously, within the law.
Within the law. This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to give your view on a footballer that you have decided to not like him anymore, and you're upset with the decision that he's made, I footballed him one. Who are we to say? I've never been in that situation to feel that strongly. I don't think I would partake, but I would understand people who were doing it at the time. So it's really there's this real tribalness about fans, and especially about homegrown players. And you belong to this city, and there's a massive what's the word? There is a massive feeling of home with Liverpool and people from Liverpool, and they're very proud of their city and them and themselves and the football club. And the thought of anyone leaving is probably a bit more foreign than it is to other places.
I feel like we've gone full circle back to the first episode. About Luke and his homegrown players.
Keep them 25 miles in the radius.
You have to have one player that's within 20 kilometers of your club or something, whatever he said.
Yeah.
I see that the Premier League hasn't brought that rule in.
Not yet. See if Nigel Farage gets in, and then things might change. Right, let's have a quick break. Good luck to Trent. We can't fix it. You just got to live through it.
Yeah, get up with it.
And we're back. I'm trying to find a way back in here. Just need a swoosh. As you can see, we are back for the second half. And if you haven't already, please go and like and share and subscribe and comment and do stuff for us, because that's nice and it helps us with the algorithm and it helps this podcast grow. So thank you for that. You can find all the information at our website, which is fixitfootballpodcast.com, or click any of the links below.
You don't have to comment nice things, but they are preferred.
Yeah, there is a delete button. Yeah, all comments are below. That is if you're watching on YouTube, where we are now live on video. If you're still with us on Spotify and Apple Music, thank you. Apple Podcasts even. Liam, you mentioned in the first half. In fact, no Bolton Wanderers this week. Playoffs have started, I know, but no Bolton Wanderers. How are you finding life without a team to support? Are you just happy sitting back enjoying the peace of no football?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, actually. Excuse me. Sorry. I'll try again. It's a bit weird, actually, because there's not a lot of football that's meaningful at the moment, either. Because of the way the Premier League's kind of worked out.
Yeah.
A lot of the games don't have the same allure. So it's a bit of a weird one. So it's not only is my season finished, kind of like all football's kind of finished.
It's just coasting towards the end. What was good point, actually?
Playoffs, which I've been watching. They've been good. I watched the Napoli game last night.
Well, let's get some tips then from you. Your tip to win Serie A?
Inter. It's 1 point in it now, and I just think Inter will get over the line.
Interesting.
I hope Napoli win it though.
Your tip to go up from the League One playoffs?
League One playoffs. Stockport.
And finally, your tip for the Championship playoffs?
Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United look dominant.
They should clearly. I checked the points difference, and they're about 15 points ahead.
Yeah, but Leeds were like that last year, and they fell at the final hurdle. So, sorry, you don't know what's going to happen in the one-off game in the playoff final, but I suspect that Sheffield United will be too strong for anyone. They've got a really good side that will more than likely get relegated from the Premier League next season.
And you mentioned about nothing to play for. I think the only thing left to play for is this crazy concoction of European places that we've ended up with in the Premier Leage. Yeah. And the way it's all going to end up.
It's hard to get into that, though, because you have no idea what position gets what. So it's like, even that's hard. Like, don't get me wrong, the top fives kind of make sense. But you're in a position where, like, Nottingham Forest, like, I think they qualified for Europe, didn't really know that because they were crying about the fact they'd drawn with Leicester. But I don't think they knew that they qualified for Europe.
Yeah.
Really. I think it's just afterwards that, oh, did we? All right, nice one.
Oh, that's worked out.
Yeah, well, that's not as bad as we thought. Like, but so yeah, even that's like hard to follow. But
it's
quite hard. Kind of looking forward to the end of the season now, to be honest.
Yeah, get it all wrapped up, and then we've got a Club World Cup to pretend we care about.
Well, yeah, we'll get that up and running. The old Predictor League that we'll have up and running, which we'll touch on later.
Yeah, people are not invited. Let's with this end to the season. This is the transfer rumor mill has inevitably wound its way up, and we saw today, as you listen to this, that Ancelotti has been announced as the new Brazil coach from this summer onwards, and that is to take effect from the end of this season and before the start of the Club World Cup. So they've negotiated, and I believe, Liam, correct me if I'm right, that Xabi Alonso has agreed to take over. He's definitely leaving Leverkusen.
It seems that way. As of today, which we're recording this on Monday, that Fabrizio Romano says that has been agreed. It's been long rumoured that...
Yeah.
There's no surprises here, but it seems as though everything's been sorted. So backroom staff, early start date for that Club World Cup. And I think that is a big reason why the transfer rumour mill is a little bit more active than maybe it normally would be. I think it's because of that Club World Cup. Not only the 2-window thing, which we touched on last week, but I think the actual wanting people in that. I think the clubs that are involved are now starting to, I think, take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Now it's particularly with the prize money of going quite far in that.
I think as well the Saudi clubs will start to become involved. The clubs in the Middle East who are also involved in it will begin to come to fruition to get people in. So that could, kickstart a chain of events. One thing that you did sort of touch on, but with Trent joining Real Madrid, even though we haven't had confirmation from either side, all we know is he's leaving Liverpool. And Alonso coming in before the Club World Cup, is that Real Madrid are looking to pay Liverpool some form of compensation to get him out of his contract before the end of it's like June 30th, isn't it? The general
it's like
end of that
early window, isn't it? That first window.
Sorry, that's the June 30th is generally the end of people's contracts, the official end.
Yeah.
So, but Real Madrid want him to play in the Club World Cup, which starts before then. So, I mean, do you expect to see more of that happening?
I think so. I think it's in everyone's interest as well, because he's not going to, from Liverpool's perspective.
It would surprise me if Liverpool play hardball, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did, though, didn't they? If you think about it, they did in January. They offered 20 million.
They did,
was the rumour in January. Forgot about that. Maybe we should have good to mention that in the first part of the podcast. But I suppose they had a league to win, didn't they? That was more important. But yeah, I think there'll be more of it. You would want Trent Alexander-Arnold in your team for that competition if you're Real Madrid. Of course you would. Not only is it good to have him in to try and win that competition, it's the best form of pre-season that you can potentially get because you're playing competitive football.
Yeah.
So it will reduce the bedding period, you would think. It's a win-win, really, I think.
Get a little pre-holiday before you turn up. You turn up with your new teammates, and you go back on holiday, and you return for pre-season at some point in a little bit.
Well, yeah. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for some clubs, particularly in these transition phases. Like Man City, where we're probably going to talk about some of their links in a minute, but it allows them to really get to work on these new signings that they've made. This new squad
need a smooth transition. Thing going on here.
I don't do that. I'm like the one show. I just go from one mad extreme to the other. Yeah,
it's the World War II memorial. Oh, here's this reporter in a pea garden in Brooklyn. Man City, you mentioned a name. So let's talk about out, and the big one is Kevin De Bruyne, looking like Napoli is the main rumour at the moment. What do you make of that one? Is that a bit left field? It's not Napoli's, despite how successful they've been in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. They're not really amongst the big spenders usually, and not even though De Bruyne will be a free, I suspect his wages will still be significant, and he's a massive name.
Well, yeah, and the thing is with Italian clubs, and this is a reason for to use an Italian. Was it French or it might be French actually? But anyway, this renaissance of Italian football we've maybe seen in this last sort of couple of years. A lot of that is to do with the tax implications of playing in Italy. The top band of tax isn't as severe as it is in other EU countries. So there is benefits. They can theoretically pay less, and the players' take-home pay is unaffected or is higher. So they do have that benefit. So it makes sense in that perspective. I did wonder about him staying in the Premier League. I did think that the Villa move was interesting when that was linked, because I could almost see that really, but
like moving to Napoli is a title challenge inside most seasons, especially in the last 10 years. They've been up there in the top 4 in and around it.
The Champions League side, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Villa are new to this, and maybe if we're talking about Villa in 3 or 4 years' time, have cemented themselves as a regular Champions League side, which I think they can do. They seem to spend well. They have a great manager. They have a decent foundation already. I think they can do and be one of them sides. But maybe that one's a little bit early. We did hear Liverpool rumours.
That would have been funny, wouldn't it?
That he can't play in red.
Isn't he best friends with Virgil van Dijk? Isn't that the?
Is he really?
Them two best mates? Yeah, that's always been what I've.
Oh.
I don't know why I have that knowledge. I think it's just something that I work with a lot of City fans who seem to just say that, and it's true. But yeah, I believe they're neighbours. I believe and have been for quite some time. Yeah,
Van Dijk doesn't strike me as one of the best friend types. It's an arm's length kind of guy in my eyes. Florian Wirtz is being rumoured to be De Bruyne's replacement. I know your mate Duncan Castles has mentioned it a long time ago, well before Kevin De Bruyne had announced that he was leaving. But Florian Wirtz was someone who Pep has had his eye on probably since middle of last season when Leverkusen were on an absolute terror. He seems destined to leave. I'm just sure it will be a significant fee as well for him. He's still, what is he, 21, 22?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's
so talented, that guy.
A starting German centre attacking midfielder, which gives you an idea of the thing. And literally, I watched the last 15 minutes of Leverkusen versus Dortmund at the weekend and watched the assist of Florian Wirtz in added time outside of the foot cross. Just picks the man out. And they lost that game 4-2, but it just gives you an insight. If you want to know the kind of player Florian Wirtz is, just watch that assist. Brilliant.
Do you think it's a good move?
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder though whether, from his perspective, you don't wait to see the outcome of the charges. I get it from other players' perspective that have made the move, but for him, I think he has the pick of almost all of Europe.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing that might hold him back is being priced out, because they may demand £100 million plus for him. That's the only thing, and then that limits where he can go.
Yeah.
But if I were him, I would wait on that. Other than that, yeah, I mean, City would be a great move for him, but that is still there in the background. So I would personally wait, but you don't know what kind of advice he's getting.
Sticking with Germany for a second, then I'm just going to raffle for you a few names, and we'll talk about what the rumor is. Bayern Munich heavily linked with Nico Williams, a player who I've had my eye on, or Arsenal Twitter has had their eye on, as a left wing addition. I know Arteta is a fan. He was brought up numerous times by Arteta in press conferences in pre-season, so I think there is a genuine interest there. But he seems hot on Bayern Munich's radar. I know they're struggling with Leroy Sané. I think people keep suspecting Serge Gnabry is about to leave as well. They've signed Elise last season, so maybe the left wing is somewhere where they want cover. Nico Williams seems like a good fit.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Arsenal. He does seem to have a propensity for Basque players, doesn't he, Mikel Arteta? He does go to that market quite often, really. Well,
smoothly again, Liam. Martin Zubimendi got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano this week. That deal is done for Arsenal, and he will be joining.
There's been a lot of talk about over the last 6 months, haven't there?
Well, we were in for him 2 seasons ago, and he got cold feet. It never really took legs. It never got to the point of agreeing, personal terms or anything. Well, I think a fee was agreed then. And then last year we had all the rumours with Liverpool, and I think he then got cold feet and pulled out at the last minute.
It's homesickness, isn't it? That was the reason. I mean, when you see where he lives, I kind of get it. You know,
it's a stunning part of the world. But he seems to now feel like his time is there. Maybe because we've got so many ex-Sociedad players.
There was a rumor, wasn't there, that he regretted the Liverpool decision not long after. I remember that being sort of wide. Okay. Maybe like a month or so later, there was talk that he regretted the fact that he turned that opportunity down.
Right. So he's 23, 4. Looks like he's going to be a good addition to Arsenal's midfielder with the outgoing Jorginho. I feel like he's more that type of player. He might come in and replace Partey as a 6, but he's more of a Jorginho type footballer than from what I've seen.
You need depth there.
Massively, yeah.
You mean like the Partey not being there really hampered you in the Champions League first leg semi-final because it just meant Declan Rice was playing out of position. And that is out of position for him now.
Yeah,
he doesn't play that anywhere near enough these days.
I've not seen enough of Zubimendi to get excited about him. I'm excited whenever we sign someone, but to put all my eggs in this Zubimendi basket that he's going to be this great midfield maestro for us. I don't know enough about him yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's part of the Spain squad who won the Euros, so he's not terrible.
He's a kind of player that knits play together. So he's a good connecting player. So he connects like defense and midfield. He can move the ball quickly, finds half spaces. He's compared a lot to Rodri, but I'd say Rodri's more complete than him. Yeah. But I think he's something you've not got because I quite like Jorginho as a player, but I don't think he's got the levels now of what you need when you're challenging for trophies. So I think the Jorginho link is quite good. He's almost like Jorginho was under Sarri, like when he was like the Sarri guy of Sarri ball. So yeah, I think it's a good signing.
Interesting. The other one that's not going away is Gyökeres to Arsenal. He seems to be Andrea Berta's number one choice.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this when we were talking about this over the weekend because that seems to be what the catalyst of this is. But why did you have to go and get like one of the world's highest paid sporting directors to tell you to go and sign probably the most available, high scoring striker on the market? Like,
yeah,
I think Gyökeres. Anyone could have said, "Well, you probably could get Gyökeres." Like,
well, the thing is that everyone wants Isak.
But we know it's obvious what the issues are with that. It's going to cost you 120 million, and arguably, if they get in the Champions League, it's just a flat no. We're just not selling him to you.
Yeah.
If he wants to go, he can go, but he's going abroad. We're not selling him to Arsenal.
I get it. Yeah, and that's why I'm not even worried about an Alexander Isak window. No. I'd rather us just skate past it and go. There's more.
You had a chance, and it wasn't a big chance, but you had a small chance in January when Champions League was looking quite unlikely for them. That was the time, but I don't think you had the money or the. It's a massive outlay. Mid-season.
Came at a terrible time as well with Edu announcing that he was leaving. Maybe if that boat was a bit more stable, maybe the timing was all off completely. I get it. I'm happy to move past it. Isak is probably the dream striker, but he's probably the dream striker for a lot of teams. So,
well, the Liverpool rumours have gone because there was a lot of Liverpool rumours around February, March time. But that's gone as well. And I think that's because it looks like they'll get the Champions League now. I think that's why that's gone.
So one thing we haven't touched on, Liam, that's the little transfer segment out of it, and we'll wrap this up shortly. But as you mentioned about us missing out in the Champions League, two teams that didn't miss out to reach in the final was Tottenham and Manchester United.
Oh, yes.
European finalists. It is horrible feeling that one of them teams is going to win a trophy, despite them sitting 15th and 16th in the league. Now, I know we spoke about Arsene Wenger's comments last week, but is it right? I mean, it is right. I'm not changing my opinion on it, but how bad they are, and they're coming off the back of another loss. Man United lost 2-0 at home to West Ham, and Spurs lost 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace in these nothing matches. And yes, they're coming off these matches in Europe, but I mean, come on. They're both at home. They're meant to be bankers. They're meant to be trying to get up there. Both these teams are so bad in the league. Ange can't say enough. He's pulling out as many excuses. He thinks the whole world's against. He thinks a fly trying to get him is some sort of press attack. Like Amorim can't stop slagging off Manchester United. Like
the two different things, I think.
Yes,
I think Ange is gone. By the way, I don't think. I think even if they win it,
I think Ange is gone. All that.
But I think if he wins it, it's interesting for him, and I'd be interested to see where he ends up. I was thinking about this over the weekend.
He'll keep his options open if he wins it. If he doesn't win it, he is in a horrific position, I think, in his managerial career.
Oh, I think he'd be all right. I can see him ending up in like the Dutch league or something. I can see him like a PSV or a Feyenoord, something like that. But we'll see. I'm genuinely curious to where he ends up. But if he wins it, again, equally curious. But Amorim, a bit like Andy, I think there's a good manager there. But is he good enough to fix Man United? I don't know. Is anyone good enough to fix Man United? I do think Amorim, when you listen to him, I do think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But you look at him and they're like, they're fucking stinking the place out.
He's going to hate win it, isn't he? Like, he's going to win it. He's going to win it and, like, slam it down on the owner's desk.
He almost resents the final. Like,
yeah.
Because he's right. Because Bruno said it unprompted after the game. Like, they hadn't even got to this question. And he's like, we're not coasting. Like, these games hurt us and we're not just figuring it out. Because you fucking are.
Yeah.
Like, you sat there just waiting for the final. It's you shouldn't be losing. Like, Potter was hired after Amorim. Yet no one's talking about Amorim's job. But they are talking about Graham Potter's job at West Ham. At West Ham. And he's hired after and he's had a better record. It's madness. Like, that Potter's under more pressure than Amorim.
Look, when I was looking at the scores at the weekend, I was shocked that they were both 2-0 down at one point. I wouldn't have been 6 weeks ago. But if you think both of them are both on a high coming out of the weekend's results, both at home, and they go out and lose again, and they just revert back to type of how bad they actually are. Yeah. And I can't keep falling on... I don't know with Ange what he's saying to these players, but it definitely isn't anything tactical or instructional. And Amorim, I don't know if he's even doing team talks these days. He's probably just go out there. It'll probably happen in Europe, and it probably won't now. And I'll wait until they get this pre-season.
I don't think
even though he's had since November,
can't even look at him. Just walks out.
He's had since November, but they've been waiting for this He needs a pre-season. So they've wrote the season off in November. But
I've never seen a man have his hands on his head so much as Amorim does. Just watching. Honestly, it's like he just can't believe what he's watching.
Yeah, I don't know with this.
But what a game! What a game! Because I've never known a game with so much jeopardy.
The last of Liam's tips then, and I'm sure we'll revisit it before the event. But right as of now, who's going to win it?
I don't know. But
the
I
Europa
think
League final.
If I was going to go with one way, I'd go United.
Yeah.
But then Tottenham have beaten 3 times this year. So, because United have been good in Europe, but this isn't Europe now. It's almost like a playoff game.
And where is the finals in Bilbao as well, isn't it?
In Bilbao, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good trip. Anyone who's going there, I think that'll be a great trip.
Yeah, nice city,
all English fans there. It'll be some trip. And look, a little bit of joking. When that game comes around, it will be massive. A massive final.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know who I want to win. I think you might. I honestly.
Who you want to win? I want to hear you want to win.
Who I want to win?
Yeah.
I honestly want them both to lose.
No, you don't. Well, you do, but
I think Manchester United will win.
Yeah, but who do you want to win?
I don't want any of them to win.
I think you want Spurs to win, but you can't bring yourself to say it.
No. I don't want Spurs to win because the ridiculousness of social media that will follow is insanity.
Oh, I don't know. I think Spurs fans have turned on him anyway. I think they're going with it because he's got. And to be fair, they've not had the easiest run at it. Like he has navigated this quite well this run, and I think they're kind of happy to go for it. But I don't think they'll turn and go, Ange was right. It was a second season thing. I think that only comes from him. Like they'll clap him off and like, yeah, you did win a trophy, nice one, but get the fuck out. Like I don't think Spurs fans will be parading his name.
I don't think I could bear our WhatsApp group if Man United win, and that's why I really don't want them to win.
Yeah, I think there's more. The reason I think if you were in a quiet room and willing to admit it, you'd say Spurs is because it would affect you less than if United won it. United winning it will affect you quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a horrible place to be with horrible people.
Good friends. I like to think them as.
No. Former colleagues, I like to think of them as. Right, and on that bombshell, let's wrap it up. Liam, cheers, mate.
Thank you
everyone for listening. Where can they find us? On all the places.
Underneath, we can do this now. Although if they're listening to it, they can't do that. But
if you're listening to it, we're
all the
pointing
links
downwards.
Yeah, exactly. Visually, I'm pointing downwards if you're listening. But you can find all the links on fixingfootballpodcast.com.
Perfectly said. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.